If you ever turned on your computer and see that Windows refuses to boot, maybe it gets stuck on the loading screen, crashes after a Windows update, or starts showing unexpected errors after installing a new driver or application, most people immediately think they have to reinstall Windows, losing valuable time and possibly important settings. But here, I will show you there's a much easier way you can recover your PC. In today's video, I'm going to show you one of Microsoft's newest recovery features called Point-in-Time Restore. This feature is designed to help you recover your system when something goes wrong by restoring your computer to an earlier working state. Unlike old recovery methods that often require complicated troubleshooting or a complete Windows reinstall, Point-in-Time Restore gives you a much faster way to recover from system problems. It creates restore points that captures the state of your Windows installation at a specific moment in time. If your computer becomes unstable later, you can simply restore it back to one of those saved points. First, let me make one thing clear. This feature is for recovering your Windows installation after software-related issues such as faulty drivers, problematic Windows update, incorrect system configuration changes, or applications that have caused instability. It is not a replacement for a proper backup solution, but it can save you hours of troubleshooting when used correctly. So let's first understand exactly how point-in-time restore works. Think of it like saving your progress in a video game. Before entering a difficult level, you save the game. If something goes wrong, instead of starting from the very beginning, you simply reload the saved progress. Point-in-time restore works in a very similar way. Windows periodically creates restore points that capture the current state of your operating system. These restore points include important system components, installed applications, system settings, drivers, and other configuration data. If something later breaks your system, you can return your computer to one of those earlier restore points instead of spending hours trying to identify exactly what caused the problem. For example, imagine you install the new graphics driver. Everything seems normal at first, but after restarting your PC, Windows begins crashing repeatedly. Normally, you would need to boot into safe mode, uninstall the driver, and hope the problem is fixed. With point-in-time restore, you simply restore your PC to the point before the driver was installed. Within a short time, your system is back to the way it was before the problem occurred. The same idea applies to Windows updates. Occasionally, an update may introduce compatibility issues or unexpected bugs. Instead of reinstalling Windows or trying to multiple repair commands, you can restore your system to a point before the update was installed and continue working normally. Now that you understand why this feature is so useful, let's see how you can enable it and prepare your computer before you actually need it. Let's see how to set it up. The most important thing to remember is this: a recovery feature is only useful if it's enabled before something goes wrong. If you wait until Windows stops booting, it's already too late to create a restore point. So let's prepare the system first. Open the Settings app and navigate to the Recovery options where Point-in-Time Restore is available on your Windows build. If the feature is disabled, simply turn it on. Windows may ask you to allocate storage space for restore points. This storage is where Windows keeps the snapshots that allow your computer to return to an earlier working state. Once the feature is enabled, Windows automatically begins create restore points at scheduled intervals and before certain major system changes, depending on your configuration. You don't have to remember to create them manually every day. Although creating one before installing a major Windows update, a new driver, or unfamiliar software is always a good habit. Now let's imagine the worst case scenario. You installed a driver yesterday, and today your computer refuses to boot. Windows keeps restarting, or perhaps it gets stuck on the loading screen. This is exactly where point in time restore becomes useful. When Windows cannot start normally, boot into the Windows recovery environment. Depending on your system, you can reach it through the advanced startup options or by using your preferred recovery method. Once the recovery screen appears, choose Troubleshoot. Inside Troubleshoot, select the recovery option for point in time restore if it's available on your Windows build. Next, Windows scans for available restore points. In a few moments, you will see a list of restore points, each showing the date and time it was created. This is why creating restore points regularly is so important. You have multiple recovery options to choose from. Suppose the problem started this morning after installing a graphics driver. In that case, simply choose the restore point created before the driver installation. After selecting the restore point, Windows displays a summary of what is about to happen. Carefully review the information and make sure you have selected the correct restore point. Once you confirm, Windows begins restoring your system. During this process, your computer may restart several times. This is completely normal. Avoid pressing the power button or interrupting the process because doing so could leave the system in an inconsistent state. After the restoration is complete, Windows boots normally again. In many cases, the issue that prevented Windows from starting has been resolved because the system has been returned to a non working state. However, there are a few important limitations you should understand. First, point in time restore is not a substitute for regular backups. If your SSD or hard drive fails completely, the restore point stored on that drive may be lost as well. Second, if no restore point exists from before the problem occurred, Windows has nothing to restore. That's why enabling the feature in advance is so important. And finally, after restoring to an earlier point, applications or updates installed after that restore point may need to be installed again because they were not part of the safe system state. Overall, point in time restore is one of those Windows features you hope you will never need. But when something goes wrong, it can save hours of frustration and potentially prevent a complete Windows reinstallation. I strongly recommend enabling it today, before you actually need it. It's a small step that could save you a lot of time in the future. So I hope this guide was helpful for you. If you have any questions or any advanced guide, then please let us know. Please like, comment, share. We need your support. And guys, please don't forget to subscribe our channel. Thank you. Thanks for watching. Have a nice day.